Guys, I'm tired. I'm tired of seeing bad advice being spread around the internet about how to grow your live stream audience. Seriously, the number of bad takes that I've seen on Twitter, on Reddit, and now even on TikTok is getting out of hand. I don't know if this is old advice maybe that is being respread and isn't as relevant in the Twitch meta today, or if this is this new craze of Twitch tips that are being spread across places like TikTok, where people are really just posting them to hopefully boost their own numbers. But some of these takes are hilariously bad and would seriously ruin your chances of ever growing a dedicated live stream audience. So let's take a look at some bad advice and suggest some better alternatives. Just before we jump into the tips, I'd like to give a quick thank you to the sponsor of this video, Melon. Melon is a web-based live streaming studio where you can create professional live streams in seconds with no downloads or software needed. You can easily invite guests onto your show just by giving them a link. They don't even need an account, and you can of course customize the stream with your own branding, lower thirds, and colors or backgrounds. You can even set up your stream to go to 4 different platforms simultaneously right from your browser. To get started with Melon, just simply visit the link down in the description below. Alright, so bad advice number 1 is a crazy stream schedule. I constantly see people suggesting that you need to be streaming at least 5 days a week for at least 4 hours per stream, and if you can't do that, then you're not going to grow, and it's bad advice. You simply can't spend all of your spare time, all of your free time dedicated to this career by streaming. What you have to understand here is that live streams as a format don't work in your favor for growth because they aren't a discoverable form of media, and next to nobody is going to be watching your VOD after you finish streaming as a way to grow through your offline library. This is why I think people are suggesting that you need to be live for longer, because you'll be discoverable for longer. But the reality is, since these live streams aren't really discoverable in the first place, that advice doesn't really ring true. Most people aren't going to spend their time scrolling down in the directories finding a new live stream to watch. So this theory of being live for longer is going to help you grow more just doesn't really work. What does work is diversification and producing video content for a platform that is built around discoverability. So YouTube and TikTok, I would say, are the 2 major players there, because then people can arrive at your video content whether you are live or not, and even if you made the video months or even years ago. If you can spend your time learning to create good, valuable content on one of these discoverable platforms, it's going to be much easier for you to build an audience and then hopefully help move some of that audience across to watching your live streams. Think about it. What sounds like a better strategy to you? Spending 8 hours streaming to 10 people for then nobody to watch your VOD from that live stream, or spending those 8 hours creating a super engaging and valuable YouTube video that can keep bringing new viewers across to your channel even months or years after you finish creating it. I'm living proof of this working. Some of my oldest and admittedly cringiest videos from 2 or 3 years ago are still getting thousands of views a day, and people are discovering my channel and the content around it from something that I worked on 2 or 3 years ago. So how should you be spending your time then, considering most of you are doing this as a sort of side hustle, side project right now, and probably have work and other family commitments to think about? I'd advise when starting out spending roughly 25% of your time streaming and 75% of your time creating content. So let's say that you have 20 hours in the week that you can dedicate to trying to build this career. I would spend 5 hours streaming, maybe in 2 lots of 2.5 hour streams that are on a set schedule every single week, and the rest of the time creating content for discoverable platforms like YouTube or TikTok. Of course, once you've built an audience and a bit of a following, you might want to adjust this balance in favor of more live streams as your audience grows, but certainly for growth, the best strategy is going to be producing good quality, valuable and engaging content on a more discoverable platform. If you want to be extra efficient with your time, I would recommend taking the same strategy that popular streamer Ludwig does, which is to actually create your YouTube content whilst you're on stream. Pretty much every single live stream that Ludwig does is built around the content that he wants to put into a YouTube video each day. He then records that content live with his stream audience, effectively combining the tasks of creating content and streaming together. So ultimately, I'd advise you not to spend all of your free time streaming, and instead learn and practice the skills of being a more diverse content creator rather than just a streamer. Iterating over this process again and again will not only improve your content, but also result in more avenues for potential viewers to find you. The second bit of bad streaming advice that I saw plastered over the internet was people being encouraged to create their own Discord server as an avenue of growth. Now, I'm not saying that you can't create your own Discord server or that you need to wait for some magic number of viewers or followers before you create one, but I see far too many streamers spending days creating this perfect Discord server with 15 different channels, auto-posting their social media posts, auto-moderation bots that they've brought in, and really expecting this perfect Discord server to bring viewers across to their stream. But if you actually go in the server, there's little to no interaction happening there. You have to weigh up the benefits of spending the time creating and managing a Discord server when you haven't really got enough members of your community yet that really desire a place to be able to speak and communicate in. If you think about this from your audience's perspective, what actual value are you providing them by asking them to join your Discord server? And what's their impression going to be if they do join your server and see 15 channels there but little to no interaction happening? That's probably going to hinder your brand rather than help it. Instead, I'd recommend participating in some medium-sized Discord communities that you share similar interests with. Maybe you can find one for a game that you're passionate about or some specific niche that you're very knowledgeable in. Whatever it is, the purpose is to interact and participate in that community. Learn what it actually takes to build a good Discord server by being a member of one and making friendships with other people in that server that share similar interests to you. Don't go spam. Dude.
Sorry.
Don't go spamming or self-promoting in these Discord servers. Trust me, nobody is clicking on your links, and most communities will probably warn or ban users that are coming across as self-promoting. The aim here is to find a community of like-minded people and to actually participate in that Discord server. And then eventually down the line, when you have got a big enough audience from your live streams and your content elsewhere to build a Discord server for them to interact in, you will know exactly what you want to build because you've been the other side of this. You've been a member in a bigger Discord community, so you'll understand what it is that your audience wants from your own Discord server. Then you can look at creating all the fun bits of your Discord server, like private live streams or stage channels, but you need to make sure that you have an audience that desires it and not the other way around. You're never going to build a Discord server that's going to grow your stream, which is where this bad advice comes from. And hey, whilst we're on the topic of Discord servers, I would be doing myself disjustice if I didn't mention that Gaming Careers has its own Discord server where thousands of streamers and content creators interact every single day. So I'd heavily recommend joining the Discord server. The link is down in the description. Bad advice number 3 is that you need to be putting your content everywhere on all of the different social medias. But when we're talking about Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Snapchat, I mean, there's endless social media platforms and it's unrealistic to expect anybody to be able to post on all of them. And that's not even taking into account that places like YouTube now, you have videos, live streams, shorts, community posts. They're trying to be all encompassing and it's just unrealistic to post everywhere. Instead, what I'd recommend doing is focusing on 1 or 2 social media platforms that serve slightly different purposes and that you know that your target audience is already using. For example, if you're streaming content that was all to do with cooking food, you might want to be using Instagram for all those finished plate pics and TikTok for quick 60-second highlights of the recipes and how you made each meal. Or if you're streaming a competitive game that has frequent patch updates, you might want to choose YouTube where you can post in-depth guides about certain aspects of the game that people might be searching for. And your second social media could be Twitter, where you can share your thoughts with the community on updates and patch notes. I definitely recommend having one of the platforms be a video first platform, so YouTube, TikTok, Instagram or Facebook, just because that medium is going to be the closest to what your live stream is going to be like. So if they like seeing a lot of you on your videos, that's probably the closest representation of what your stream might be like too. Now you might well be thinking, Pete, can't I just make one video and post it to multiple different social media platforms? You know, create one vertical video and then post that to TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, and Snapchat simultaneously, and then I can be on all the platforms. And yes, you can, but I actually wouldn't advise doing that. Again, it really just comes down to value for your audience. What value are you providing by posting your TikTok clips into your Instagram Reels? Why would somebody want to follow you on Instagram if all you're doing is posting your TikTok content there? You want your audience to feel valued by you. So if all you're doing is reposting content, that's going to come across as low effort and low value content. Instead, what I'd recommend doing is to edit the same content to fit and be specific to the social media platform that you're posting it to. Then that's ideal. So for example, you could take a Twitch clip and turn them into portrait highlights for TikTok using a tool like Streamladder to crop your webcam and actually make good, valuable content that is intended for the vertical video platform. So to summarize, you don't need to be on every single social media platform out there. Instead, focus your energy on 1 or 2 platforms that you know that your target audience is using and really putting out valuable content for them on those platforms. Bad advice number 4 is to stream just 1 game for your whole streaming career if you want to grow to be a full-time streamer. And I can certainly understand where this advice comes from, because the old advice at least used to be that if you wanted to grow, you needed to stream 1 game because people were only interested in watching 1 game. And if you went and streamed a variety of games, then you'd lose your audience every time you mixed up games. But thankfully, Twitch as a platform and streaming in general has become a bit more forgiving from the audience's perspective. The majority of partnered streamers aren't just streaming 1 main game anymore. Instead, they vary what they play day to day or month to month, depending on what's popular or what's entertaining for their chat. Think about how many of your favorite streamers took part in the big trending games on Twitch in the past year, like Among Us or Fall Guys, Rust or GTA Roleplay. The reason that they can do this is because it's the personality of the streamer that the audience is attracted to. People may arrive at your stream from the game that you're playing or the category that you're streaming in, but if they're going to become a valuable member of your community, it's likely that they're sticking around because they like your personality. I've seen far too many streamers burn out and give up on streaming because they've been streaming the same game that they no longer enjoy playing, and that comes through in their content. It's obvious to the audience that you no longer enjoy streaming that game, and your content suffers as a result. So the ideal situation is to build a community of people that want to watch you as a streamer exploring and playing new games and creating content about new and different games, and they're really just wanting to see your reactions and your entertaining value that you bring whilst playing those games. But how do you go about building that kind of audience? Well, I think there's a few things that you can do. Firstly, I would suggest having a just chatting portion to every single live stream that you do. This section of your stream should be solely dedicated to interacting with your audience and discussing topics or having a conversation back and forth with your chat. This can be a bit tricky if you're still a very new streamer and you only have a small handful of viewers, but try and plan a topic that you're going to talk about for each stream and choose a topic that you're comfortable talking about on your own if you have to. You should also try streaming games that are closely related to each other, so don't just jump into a new game every single day that's completely different to what you have been known to be streaming, but pick games that have similarities between them. So for example, if you're known for trying to do no-hit runs in games like Dark Souls, then you could look at other games that you could try and do no death or no hit runs in. That way your audience won't find it such a jarring contrast to what they're used to, and hopefully they'll still find the links of what they found entertaining previously just in this new game. And finally, you can plan some content and some streams around real community engagement by playing games like Marbles on Stream or GeoGuessr with your chat, or doing like a tier list of fast food restaurants, for example. Those kind of events are really gonna make that bond between you and your community much stronger, and they're gonna be much more likely to watch you play different games than what you're known for. Bad advice number 5 is better gear equals better stream. You can buy every light, camera, microphone, capture card, stream deck in the world, but it's not going to make an engaging stream for your audience. They're not going to stick around just because you've got good gear. If you can't give your viewers the content that they want to support and consume, then they'll be gone before you know it. This is a difficult one for me because obviously on this channel I do cover a lot of the latest streaming gear and products that come out, and often if I like the product I do recommend it, which may influence some people into buying it thinking it will improve their chances of becoming a full-time streamer. But you always have to be thinking in your head, will this product actually benefit my audience in any way, or am I just buying it because I want the latest streaming tech? It's really important to highlight that there's a difference between improving the quality of your content and improving the production quality. When I'm talking about improving the quality of your content, it's nothing to do with the gear that you're using. The amount of improvements that you can make by simply balancing your audio and EQing a cheap microphone or lighting yourself properly with a cheap webcam easily meets the threshold of what viewers will consider as good production quality. So it's really not about having this super expensive gear and that being the reason that you're not growing. In reality, the main reason people don't succeed with streaming is quite simple. It's that they're not making good content, and they give up before they put in enough learning and repetitions in creating content that it eventually becomes good, valuable content for an audience. So next time you're watching me review the latest bit of streaming tech, think to yourself, is that piece of streaming tech something that I really need and something that is gonna improve the viewing experience for my audience? And if not, maybe put that money towards something a little bit more valuable, like learning how to video edit from an online course, or something that is actually going to directly impact your audience. Because if you can improve your video editing skills, then your content is going to become better, and that's going to help your chances of growing much more than some piece of hardware that's come out. That being said, if you are a gearhead and you get a lot of joy out of testing and getting the latest streaming tech, and you have the disposable income to do so, then feel free to buy as much as you want to. I don't control your money. You can choose what you spend your money on completely, but just don't expect it to increase your viewership, because really that's down to your content. All right, so that wraps it up. 5 bits of bad streaming advice that I've seen scattered across the internet these past few weeks. If you have enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. That really does help me out. And if you haven't yet checked out the Gaming Careers podcast, we are live streaming it every single Monday. Me and my co-host Benjamin Green, every Monday at 9 a.m. PST, 12 p.m. EST. We record this podcast live and we take in questions from chat. So do drop by, and if not, I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.
Like, live streams and shorts are kind of the polar opposite. Shorts is like scrollable. You're probably watching less than 5 seconds of most, and then maybe you watch one the whole way through, which is 30 seconds or something. But how many times are you browsing like 5 seconds of live streams? You're not. You're just finding somebody that you know you want to watch, and you sit and watch them for a few hours, and then when they stop streaming, you stop watching, and that's the problem with Twitch.